and a very warm welcome to Yorkshire Talks. We're well into the series now. This is a series where we look at the people, the places and all the weird goings on in God's own county, and we talk about it. I'm Christine Talbot.
I'm Matt Jameson. Welcome back. How are you today?
Yes, good today. Have you been busy?
I've been very, very busy. Lots going on at the moment, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So a few things that are in the pipeline, but I won't reveal them just
You're
yet.
such a busy man.
I am all the time, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed to have a lot going on. And how about you?
Well, I've also been busy, and one of the things I've been trying to do is get my fitness stepped up a bit.
Okay.
As you know, I've been doing Pilates for the last year, so I'm trying to keep up with that. I'm also trying to do a bit of Zumba, and we've got the very perfect person with us today.
We have.
I'm going to get a bit of advice from her later, actually.
Oh, brilliant.
Do you want to introduce her?
I will, yes. So, a really good friend of mine here today. You may recognise her. She was on Married at First Sight with me. We were on it together. Marilyse Corrigan is here. Now, not only was she on MAFSUK, she has her own fitness online mentoring business where she meets with clients one-to-one, but also did an amazing thing a couple of years ago and donated a kidney. So we can't wait to hear all about that. So welcome, Marilyse.
Hi.
How are you today? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff.
You?
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
So we know each other,
Yeah,
obviously. Very well, because we were on Besties, because we were on Married at First Sight together. Tell us a little bit about your journey, because obviously I know a lot about it. Christine, you did watch the show.
Well, I'm a big fan of Married at First Sight, and I watched the series that both of you were on. So I feel like I know you a little bit already, Marilyse. And I watched your love journey as I watched yours as well, Matt. And I love the series. It's been it's really put you both out there as well, hasn't it? But why, Marilyse, did you decide to go on it in the first place?
I think I applied for Married at First Sight. I was actually late applying for it. I remember when I saw it advertised on TV, I was like 3 days out or something. And I applied for it because I was single, very single. Had my heart broken by my ex who'd gone off with somebody else. It was lockdown, so I had nothing else to do. I couldn't even go and date. So I was just like, do you know what have I got to lose? So I applied for it. Did not think in a million years that they'd give me a call and be interested in me. And the very next day I get a call when I'm walking the dogs around the village, and it was one of the producers, and they were just like, we're interested in having you on the show. And then from that day onwards, it was like every day, like as you know, Matt, every day they were like ringing me, they were wanting to do Zoom calls with me and interviews and everything. So yeah, it all started from there.
That's really interesting. So is there quite a rigorous process before you finally get the word that you're on it?
Yeah, there is. You have to do all sorts. You have to have a chat with Paul on Zoom. Do you remember that, Matt?
I do remember that,
Is
yes.
he a producer?
He's
or?
one of the experts.
Oh,
Paul
right.
Bronson.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a chat with him. We had to do like questionnaires. I remember having this questionnaire, and I remember being so busy at the time. I can't remember what I was doing, but I had to, there was about 300 questions. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to take me forever. So I was just like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Very much about your personality.
Probably wasn't even correct, to be honest, because I was rushing through it. And yeah, so it was just like one thing after another. It was quite daunting, to be fair, because, I didn't expect it to be that
Is that
detailed.
because they need to know you can stand up to the process? Do you think?
They need to. Well, they need to know everything about you so that they can find you your match, whether you're going to be able to do the show or not. Just everything and everything about your life, and so they can find you somebody to match you, I guess.
Yeah, all about kind of your personality traits and everything, and what you're looking for as well in a partner. But I do know this as well, and we've spoken about this, Marilyse. I know you actually got cold feet a couple of times before we actually got to the actual weddings.
I tried to bail out of it a few times. I'd say about 10 times.
Really? Was it that many?
I actually rang the producer. Well, is it the producers or is it who do you ring when we speak? Who was Emma,
so the casting producer.
Casting producer.
Yeah.
So I'd ring her and I'd be like, I can't do this. Like, this is not for me. I don't want to do it. I'd literally say that to her, and then she'd be like, "You can do it. We've got you your perfect match. If you pull out, then obviously you're letting him down." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll do it then."
And do you think then you've just said Emma said they found you your perfect match? Do you think Frankie was your perfect match?
50-50.
50-50.
So obviously, if people haven't watched the series, who does describe Frankie? What he was like?
So Frankie is a very different person. He's a lovely character. He's into his fitness. He is he's like he's older. He was like 10 years old. I think he was 10 years older than me or something like that. But actually he's a real fun person. He's a very caring person. Everybody loves him who knows him, obviously.
And you've still got a relationship with him as well, haven't you? You're still
it's not as strong
friends.
as it used to be. Like Frankie and I have been friends ever since the show, and he's been a great support for me over the last couple of years, and he's just been there for me. But obviously he's got a girlfriend now, so obviously I know what Frankie's like when he's got a girlfriend. He's very respectful to his girlfriend. So I don't hear from him as much anymore, but I did see him a few weeks ago when I went to Dubai.
Yeah. So for anybody who didn't watch the series, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Spoiler alert.
We were together for a while, actually, like 3 months after the show aired.
Yeah, you stayed together, because me and Dan came to visit you.
But I just think there was a lot of pressure on our relationship, and obviously Frankie was painted to be somebody that he wasn't, and I think that really affected him.
Do you think that? Do you feel he was badly represented?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. People that know Frankie know that he wasn't what they made him out to be on the show. That 100%.
Because there was a slight suggestion that when you told him you'd got 2 children, that he didn't like that. It wasn't there at the beginning. There was a slight...
it was weird actually, because he was fine about it, but then there was a little thing that he said, and I don't think he meant to say it the way it came across. And that was towards the end of the show when we were having like our final date, and he said something like, what I would prefer to have someone that didn't have kids. And I was like, how dare you? But then obviously I don't think he meant to say it like that, and I don't think he felt like that. And to be honest with you, Frankie got on with my kids so well. They still talk now. He probably keeps in touch with them more than he does me.
Yeah. The premise of Married at First Sight is literally that. You marry someone you've never met before, you know nothing about them, at the altar. They turn round and you have to get married there and then, unless you want to do a runner. I don't know if you've got the option. What, for both of you, having been through that kind of unique experience, first of all, Marilyse, what was that like when you see them? What do you think? And what did you think of Frankie?
It was crazy because I was so nervous about doing it, and even the day before I was like, I don't know if I'm going to pull out. But then when it got to the day, and I was actually in Hertfordshire where the wedding was taking place, I actually thought, I can't back out now, so I'm just going to relax into it and enjoy it. And I was fine. I was like so chilled on the day. And then when I saw Frankie, I just saw how warm he was. Like his eyes were just like really warming, and I just felt really comfortable. And he kind of made the whole day so much better. If it was anyone else, I probably wouldn't have had the same experience. But it literally made me feel so comfortable that, maybe there wasn't the straight like 100% attraction towards him, and he wasn't exactly what I'd asked for, but he made me feel so like at home and comfortable that I just knew that we were going to get on.
It's such a unique experience that you can't really explain it until you've been in that situation. And I think for me as well, I think, and we've spoke about this before, I was kind of quite surprised when I turned around and Dan was walking towards me, because for some reason in my mind, I tried not to have any expectations, but I kind of didn't think it would be somebody younger than me. I thought it'd be somebody a similar age or maybe older than me. Yeah, so I was really surprised turning around and seeing this young lad walking towards me with long hair. I mean, it was a bit of a shock.
I bet you were buzzing.
Well, he's a good-looking guy. And coming towards me, but similar to yourself. As soon as we got kind of spoke and looked into each other's eyes, there was that warmness there, and we got on straight away, and there was that attraction straight away. And so our journey went really, really well. And as you know, we stayed together for a long time after the show finished. But that unique experience is something that only a few people have experienced. Would you ever do it, Kristen?
Well, I'm married already.
I know you.
Don't know how my husband would feel about that, but I don't know, because I've often thought, would I ever go on a reality show? I don't know. There's certain ones I've been very tempted by, the kind of adventure ones, and I thought that'd be quite good for like Race Around the World or something like that.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
I think that would. I know it'd be hard, but something like that. But I don't know. I think because I think you've got to be prepared to put yourself out there, haven't you?
Yeah,
I always felt like getting married. I was engaged before to an ex years ago, and I always was nervous about ever having a wedding day where you have to like be stood there in front of people and everything. And then I go and do it on TV in front of
Millions
In front of millions of
I
people,
don't know
yeah.
how I honestly do not know how I even
Yeah.
had the balls to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so surreal. I think
Yeah.
once you're in it, like you were saying, that wedding day, you were like, well, I'm here now. I'm just going to do it and just get on with it.
They couldn't believe how chilled I was. They were like, I thought you were nervous. I'm like, no, I'm fine now.
Yeah, it's just, it's so surreal, and you just like going with it. You're on this journey.
And do you feel like it's a real commitment? Because you're not actually, you're not legally married at that stage, are you?
You actually feel like it's a real wedding. You take it so seriously, and you forget that it's going to be on TV as well. Like you forget who's going to watch it. You don't realize, I mean, because we were the first series that had that setup, we didn't realize how popular it was going to be. You know, it was like we didn't know what to expect. But on the day, like, yeah, you take it so seriously. It's like you're actually really getting married, because everything else about the wedding day is so real. Like you've got your friends and family there, you've got a wedding dress, you're going on a honeymoon, you're in this gorgeous venue, that you actually take it so seriously.
What was the reaction of your friends and family and your children to what you were doing?
My kids were really supportive. They kept on saying to me, Mum, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose. And they were one of the big reasons why I wasn't going to do it, because I thought, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to embarrass them. You know, I don't want them to get bullied at school. Like all these things were going through my head. And they just said to me, Mum, do it. You've got nothing to lose. You know, you never know what might happen. My mum was really supportive as well. She was great. And my friends were just like, they were getting nervous. Like I was getting nervous because I was ringing them saying, I'm not doing it anymore. And then next minute I was. They were like, will you just make up your mind? Because you're making us feel nervous now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really supportive.
And I think we were both, you I know, were very committed to the process, as I was. And I think that's why you do take it so seriously as well, because you're invested in what they're doing. The reason that I went on the show was because I'd had failed relationships, and I wanted to give the onus over to the experts, and I wanted them to find this perfect
see who they
man.
came up with
Who they came up with. So I was invested in it.
You believe in it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You believe in it. And that's
but
why.
I think that's it. I think in both your cases, I think that you went on it for the right reasons. I think sometimes you can look at some people and think, are they just going on it to get more Instagram followers or something else? And they're not really ever intending. Because you do see some series where it turns out they've got somebody lined up waiting for them when they come out.
Waiting in the wings,
Or they've had a girlfriend and they've just dumped her or something.
For a few process.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can't believe that some people did. There was somebody on our series that did that. There was.
Yeah.
But with the show and everything that kind of brought, you obviously you and Frankie didn't work out. But then you went on to then meet somebody from the following series, Matt. And had a relationship.
I forgot about that.
You forgot about it, and you had a relationship with
I
Matt.
hope he's not listening.
It's fine if he is, so don't mind.
I've met him a few times as well, obviously, because when you were dating him. But how did that actually come about? How did you guys meet?
I think what happened was the second series came out, and obviously everyone from our series is intrigued about the new husbands and wives, and then you always like reach out to them or they reach out to you. And Matt actually reached out to me, and he sent me a voice note on Instagram, and I didn't know who he was because he was one of the throw-in couples that come in
a little bit later on in the series.
So it was the night before his show was aired, and he just sent me a voice note saying, oh, you know, what's all this about? And then I saw him on the show the next night, obviously getting married to Gemma. And we just started speaking, and he was very confident, and because he lived in Yorkshire as well, he messaged me and was like, do you want to meet up for tea? So I was like, yeah, okay. Had no like expectations of liking him or anything, and we just got on really well. And then we just started hanging out, and then obviously it did grow from friendship into more than that. And it was only for a few months. So, no, but Matt's okay. Like, you know, there's no hard feelings. I actually spoke to Matt last week, a couple of days ago, actually. He sent me a voice note. So we were chatting, just, catching up.
That's really nice that you've managed to
fall out with people. Do you know?
And I think there is that interaction between the participants from different series as well, because some of the guys reached out to me as well, and I think there's always that intrigue and also wanting to know and get that support from somebody that's gone through the same thing.
Because that I've spoken to you about this before and said, what support is there afterwards? Because obviously you're filming this whole process. It's very intense. You're in this kind of bubble, aren't you, where you can't contact anyone. And then there's the wedding, and then you're out there, and it's like you've got to make it work, or if it doesn't work, is there any support? Or do they stay in touch to see you through the next few months
Not
or
for
anything like that?
long.
No.
No, they are there, and they do reach out and say that if you have any issues and need that support, they will be there. But you kind of, I always remember after the final commitment ceremonies, because we were on the same day, weren't we? And then we went out after, and then the next day you kind of, I won't say the word evicted, but you're out of the apartments. Off you go. And you're like, what do you do? And especially for me and Dan, it was something that we had to navigate really quickly, because he lived in Northern Ireland and I lived in Leeds, and it was like, what we're going to do. So we kind of stayed in Brighton for a couple of days, and then he flew back to Northern Ireland. I came back to Leeds. We had a week apart, and then we came back together. He came back over to Leeds. But in kind of the support that you have there, they are there if you need them, but they don't reach out to you. You are kind of very much left on your own.
It's not just as well the emotional wreckage that you might have or might not have if the relationship doesn't work out, but it's also your profile. You're suddenly you're famous, and you've perhaps had no preparation for that. How did you find that, Marilyse?
So I think after the show, so they keep in contact with you, don't they, when the show's being aired, and they do ring you quite a lot to see if you're okay, to see if you need anything, if you've got any problems. And to be honest, I said to them, I'm absolutely fine. I'm quite a strong person, so I'm absolutely fine. But then there does come a point where the show's over and they're like, right, this is our lost contact with you. If you need to speak to anyone, then you have to, here's an email address or something. So you are kind of thrown out there, but I don't know. I think I coped with it okay. I am quite a strong person, so I didn't struggle with anything, to be honest, which I thought I would, but I didn't. I just kind of got on with normal life again, and
you two both seem like you have
working.
But I mean, we've read those very sad stories of people who've been on big shows like Love Island and haven't been able to cope afterwards, have they? Because maybe the level of fame that they attracted, and maybe after a while maybe that's waned, and they've found that very difficult to deal with. But I guess because you two both went on it for the reasons you did, it's not. You've not had that. You've not had that, oh, well, why am I not on TV anymore? Why does everyone not know me in the street thing, which some people seem to have.
Yeah, they do feel
do you think that's a danger with these shows?
I think it really is a danger. And I think you have to be really strong-minded and have resilience as well, because it is difficult. It's 3 years since we were on the show.
Yeah.
And because it was such a massive show at the time, you are thrown into the spotlight and you are recognised everywhere because so many people watch it.
That definitely fades out, though.
It does.
It's not like that anymore. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
When I was in Dubai a few weeks ago, a girl came up to me on the beach and she was like, "Oh, you're off Married at First Sight."
Wow.
So you do get that the odd occasion, but it's nothing like it was, but it's fine, it doesn't matter.
And you have to be, like I said, resilient. But I think I do understand how some people, it can tip them over the edge because it is a massive pressure.
Yeah.
It really is. And especially when you're not used to it and suddenly you've got this instant massive fame, and then for it to kind of go. And I think there are expectations as well, because especially if you get an agent and then they're talking about other TV shows and they're putting you forward for this, that and the other, and there's lots of buzz around you at the time because you're straight off the back of a show like that, then there is an expectation. And so with that then comes disappointment if things don't work out. That's and you don't go on another TV show or you don't get a deal with a clothing brand or something. There is that disappointment that comes along with it.
I think for Married at First Sight, though, I think for people that go on that, it's completely different to Love Island. Love Island, you get a lot of younger audience who are active on Instagram, we're an older audience. So we're not going to get that much following compared to Love Island and shows like that. So
it's a different demographic.
Different.
Yeah. It is a different demographic.
But I think, like I said, because you went on it for the right reasons, which was genuinely to find love. I think people that do go on it for fame and they don't end up the next Ryland or, there's only a very few of the people that started out that way who've ended up with big TV careers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that's difficult to deal with if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You then got to think, what do I do next?
Yeah.
So,
I think some people give up their lives for these TV shows, don't they? They quit their jobs. They think that they're going to come off it really famous, and it can be. I assume it can be very disappointed for them.
And the reality of it is that you may not be making loads of money. It might. You've got this massive profile, and people know who you are. But actually, what comes with that? And I think people don't really understand that, especially people that go in it for the wrong reasons and are expecting that. get sadly disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in a way, Marilyse, you had a preparation, didn't you, for what you were to face on the fame side of things? Because you've grown up in the world of fame. You've grown up with some very, very big names, because your dad ran the Batley Variety Club, the famous Yorkshire Batley Variety Club, Jim Corrigan, a very well-known figure in Yorkshire. So you almost must have been used to being in a different sphere from most mortals in Yorkshire from a very young age.
Yeah, it's weird. It is crazy, like, when I think back to my dad, because obviously my dad passed away when I was 16, and I remember him very well. I remember, lots of conversations with him, and he was a brilliant dad. And we grew up with always knowing that my dad used to be famous. Like, we weren't part of that time because it was before we were born, because we were his second family. But we do all remember, like, growing up, and it just was a known fact that Daddy used to be famous, and Daddy used to have Batley Variety Club. And yeah, so it is mad. And we did meet some of the artists as well, when we were kids.
Who have you met?
Neil Starker. He was, I mean, I love Neil Starker. Guy Mitchell. I don't know if you've ever heard of Guy Mitchell. The Grumbleweeds. Just like a few people, like Charlie Williams. I don't even know if anyone's heard of these people, but yeah.
No, they're big names in the 70s, particularly, weren't they?
Yeah.
But also, your dad's probably in the early days of the Batley Variety Club. I mean, Shirley Bassey he knew Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey.
Yeah, they were big.
Am I right thinking the Beatles played there?
It was the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
Yeah, the Bee Gees actually opened the club on the opening night. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, so they actually opened it.
What kind of man was he, your dad?
My dad was he had a great sense of humour. He was so humble. Everybody loved him. He's a bit like my brother. My brother's very much like my dad. Like, you meet him and you feel very warmed by him. He was always telling jokes. There'd always be the Englishman, the Irishman, the Scotsman joke, always. And I don't think it never went to his head or anything. Like, obviously, from having all that to having nothing practically when he was with my mum, it didn't affect him in a bad way at all. He was just, money comes and goes.
Yeah, because
he
went bankrupt, am I right in thinking? Yeah. But then life turned around because he won the lottery, didn't he? Was it £2.2 million
it was
2.5
actually.
2.5.
That
extra 300,000 is very important.
I know, we can't miss out that.
I know, but that's just incredible that happens.
It was so this happened. So my dad died in the December, and this was in the May the year before. And it was me that was with him when he actually won it. Like, he asked me to check the numbers for him.
Oh my God, that must have been an unbelievable moment. Describe that. How was that?
I remember it really well, actually. So I was in my dad's bedsit. He lived in a bedsit at the time. He'd had cancer, so he was obviously, poorly on and off. But he wasn't dying at this point. He was, he thought he was going to get better. And we'd just spend holidays and weekends with him. And I was really close to my dad. I was a bit of a daddy's girl. And I remember being there with my brother. And I remember my dad saying to me, will you check the ticket? Will you check the lottery ticket? And we had the TV on. Do you know, like you used to watch like the Saturday night.
The Saturday night show, yeah.
Where they do all the balls. And I was just like sat watching it, and I was like, oh my God, like we got one number, we got two number. And I was like, we got all 6 numbers. And he was like, give over. I remember him saying to me, give over. I was like, I'm being serious, look. And then he looked and he was like shaking. He was like, oh my God, because it was a £20 million rollover actually.
Wow.
So, but 7 people won it. So, yeah.
Oh, what an incredible story.
That's absolutely amazing, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was something I'll never
forget. But your dad sounds like he's kind of one of those people who had that bit of stardust about him.
Very lucky. Yeah, in and out of luck, I think.
Yeah. And your mum did she work with your dad at some point?
No, so my mum met my dad in Mallorca when she was in her early 20s and he was in his 40s, and she was holidaying in Mallorca with her mum, and she met my dad in a bar actually, and he liked her, and so he sent some drinks over to her table. Obviously she was like nearly half his age. And then they started like dating each other, and they were together from my mum being a really young age, but they were together I'd say for 18 years. They did get married and then obviously had 4 kids.
So was she part of the Batley Variety Club?
No, my mum wasn't.
No.
That was with his ex-wife before my mum, yeah. My mum had been to the club. She had been to the club, yeah. But she was, a lot younger. She was 24 years younger than my dad. So quite a big age gap.
So having grown up around pretty famous people, I mean, you might not have been fazed by fame yourself.
I don't really know. I don't see us as ever being famous, to be fair, in any kind of
just
way.
normal,
I felt
folk.
as soon as I came off the show, I went straight back to being a personal trainer with my clients that I'd left for a few weeks. I had no expectations or anything like that. I didn't think, oh my God, I just didn't.
And I think anything that came with that was a bonus.
Yeah.
Because it was just about living our normal lives. I went back to work when I came back, and it's just about any extra bits and things that come along that you can get involved with.
Yeah.
Just opens up new doors.
Yeah, new opportunities to do. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know you just talked about your mum there, and you've been through a bit of a bad time the last year. You lost your mum, didn't you? Relatively young age, really. Only 74 and is young these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. So she passed away literally 11 months ago. She got diagnosed with cancer, which had spread all over her body, basically. And we didn't know she had cancer at all. She lived a normal life. She was, she had lots of dogs and she was fit and well. And then suddenly she started losing weight rapidly and lost her appetite. So we got her into the doctors. It took a while to get them to actually see to her properly and give her scans and things. And eventually they did. And they found out that she had cancer of the stomach that had spread to her liver, lungs and lymph nodes. So she didn't last a long time. It was about 10 weeks.
I know, I remember it being
It was really,
quick,
really quick and rapid. And it was just more than anyone could take, like my poor mum having to go through that and not know what the outcome was going to be, and us having to go through it with her was just horrific. Yeah.
So you've had a bad period in your life.
Yeah, it's been literally the last year has been the worst year of my entire life. Like literally there's nothing that could be worse than that.
I remember we spoke quite a lot when you were going through it and the support that you were giving to your mum, because you didn't really leave aside.
I didn't. As soon as I found out my mum had cancer, I literally left everything. I left my job. I left my kids with their dad. I left my dogs at the kennels, and I literally just dropped everything and just went to go and live with my mum, and I didn't leave her side. I was so paranoid about everything, like I didn't want her to feel on her own. I didn't want her to be upset. I wanted to support her. So I literally did not leave her side day in, day out.
Does that bring you comfort now, the fact that you were able to do that and spend that time with her?
100%. I did I couldn't have done any more. Me and my brother could not have done any more. Like there was literally nothing more that we could have done. We didn't leave her side. Me and my brother were the same. And it does. And I have no regrets whatsoever. Absolutely no regrets.
And how have you dealt with the grief of that then and moving forward? Because I know it's been, with it being such a difficult time, and you and your mum were so close.
Yeah, she was like my best friend.
I know. Yeah. I remember the conversations that we had. How have you been able to kind of deal with that and move forward?
I don't think you do deal. I don't think you do. Like you think, you go through like a bubble of like being like lost for a while, confused, like just loads of different emotions. And then you think you're getting better, but actually you're not, like I thought I was getting better and I thought I was getting like, oh, actually I'm okay. But actually there's days where I'm not okay. And some days I just can't get out of bed, like, and I'd say every day you're like, oh, I want to ring my mum. Like you'll be doing something and you'll be like, oh, like it'll just come into your head. I haven't spoken to my mum today. And then you'll be like, oh, I can't speak to her. It's just weird. It is weird.
What's your coping mechanism? How do you deal with those days?
I think for me, and I have realised this and I go in and out of it, is exercise. Like I didn't realise how powerful exercise was until I lost my mum. Like it's been part of my life since I was 16. I've always been obsessed with exercise and, fitness. And then I think losing my mum, I like went off it all for a good few months. And I was like, God, what's going to make me feel better? And then I started doing exercise again and getting back into my fitness, and it made me feel better. So some days when I don't do any exercise, I feel crap. And then other days when I do, I feel, so much better. So it is exercise that makes me feel better.
Well, you're a personal trainer as well, and that's what you trained in, and you've got your online coaching business, and I completely agree with you. I think having really good physical health and doing lots of exercise is really good for your mental health, and it can help you get through those dark times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how is the business going? How are you growing that and reaching? Because I see on Instagram all the time the inspiring posts that you put on, the women and the men that you're supporting on their own personal physical journeys.
Well, I've been personal training for 10 years now. So I started it when I was 30, and I built my business up purely on my own. I don't work with anyone. I've got a gym in my house. So I started training clients at home, which I still do now, 10 years on, and men and women as well. And it goes really well. And then I've started online coaching so I can help other people, who don't live close by to me. And that works as well. Like give them programs to follow and plans and menus, like healthy eating menus. So yeah, it works really well.
Oh, fab. Well, I've tried some of the menus. You helped me out about 2 years ago now, and I followed the program, and it is great. And I think having that one-on-one is a really great way to engage with people and help them on their
keeps you accountable
journey.
as well.
Yeah.
It does.
A lot of my ladies, they're all, I'd say, my age upwards. So the ladies who don't go, they either had children and they've just had kids or whatever, or they're busy mums at home, or they're women that are older who are going through the menopause. And that's my main attraction, is ladies around that age bracket. And so I experience a lot of what women go through with hormones and what they go through with the menopause. And I see it every day, like the struggles they go through. And it's nice to be able to help them feel better and control, all these symptoms that they're going through.
Do you become a friend to them as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like all my clients are my friends, even my online clients who I've never met before. We have conversations, we'll chat about our animals, we'll chat about, things that are going on in their life, because a lot of them are going through bad things, really. A lot of them have lost their parents recently, or someone's in hospital, or they don't want to go out anywhere because they've got the hormones are all over the place. So I like to try and help them.
Yeah. One of the, obviously this, because it's called Yorkshire Talks and we're talking to people from Yorkshire. Do you think there is something about Yorkshire people that makes both of you are very resilient, and you've talked about that resilience? I suppose the old phrase Yorkshire grit, isn't it? Would you say there's something about coming from this part of the world that makes you able to have a down-to-earth attitude to life and tackle things head on?
Yeah, I think Yorkshire people are definitely more down to earth. I used to live down in Surrey, and I do think that we're definitely different to the Southerners. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got that resilience, and and we've got that. It's that community feel, isn't it? Yeah. It's about supporting the people around us and being strong for other people. Yeah. And all of us be coming together and supporting each other. Yeah. I think that's something that kind of is the essence of being Yorkshire.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I've often seen it with all of you. We were talking to Rachel from The Apprentice last week, weren't we? And she was the same. She said on the programme she gravitated to the other Yorkshire people. Yeah, and that's,
you do actually.
You two obviously have and become, and you're saying Matt as a guy. And was Frankie?
Frankie was Yorkshire as well.
Yeah, he was from Yorkshire, even though he lived in Dubai.
Yeah. So you sort of gravitated to the people that you understand, I suppose.
think you do, yeah.
Definitely.
Feel like they're home, I guess, don't you?
Definitely.
So what's next for you, Marilyse?
What's next for me? I don't really know, to be honest. I have no idea.
You sound like me. I'm the same.
I know. I'm a bit confused with my life at the moment.
Well, you've done so much, and you've achieved so much. And one thing that I do just quickly want to mention as well is you did an incredible thing where you donated a kidney for your ex-partner. Who needed a kidney transplant. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that came about? Because that is just one of the most unbelievable things to do for someone.
So basically, during the time that we were together, he had polycystic kidneys, which is like cysts on his kidneys. And obviously over time, they got worse and worse and worse. And his kidney function would drop like all the time until it got really, really low. And we'd been broken up about 10 years, and I knew that nobody else could help him. The kids were really upset. They were young. They were so upset and like worried about their dad. They couldn't do normal day-to-day activities with him because he was unable to, because he was on dialysis. So I just thought, I'm healthy and I'm strong as being a Yorkshire girl. So I put myself forward and see if I can help him. And it came back that I could. So I went through with it. 2.5 years ago now.
That's such a brave thing to do.
It is. I don't really think about it anymore. Like, I did it and then it's kind of out my mind now. And when I do think about it, I'm like, I can't believe I did that.
Because I know with these operations, I mean, it's quite debilitating for you to have that operation as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I bounced back quite quickly, to be fair. Obviously, it was an awful experience afterwards when you're recovering, because you do feel like you've been hit by a bus. But yeah, I bounced back quite quickly, to be honest.
And what do your children think of what you did?
Yeah, they're really pleased, that I've helped their dad. They're really happy. And yeah, we don't really talk about it anymore, to be honest. It's not really a subject anymore. I helped him and then that's it.
Well, you've been an inspiration, I think, to other people. And I know you do quite a lot of work with the Kidney Research UK, and people seeing, because being in the public eye and doing something so selfless and supporting somebody, that is your ex as well. I think people are a bit like, oh, what's she doing?
That is very generous.
Yeah, that is very generous.
I know. I don't know if it'd do the same for me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it was incredible, and
But it
like I
shows
said,
the goodness in you that you did that.
It does,
Yeah.
and you've inspired so many other people to look into it. I know, because I know you get messages from people all the time.
Oh yeah,
that say they're inspired and they put themselves forward, and I donate blood as well, and I think that's a great thing to be able to talk about in being in the public eye, to encourage and inspire other people to do the same.
Yeah, I don't think people realise how actually easy and straightforward it is, and anyone can do it. You don't have to be a direct match to somebody. You don't even need to know anybody. You can actually donate to a stranger.
Oh, that's interesting, because I always thought you had to have some kind of DNA link in some way.
No, as long as you're healthy enough and you've got 2 kidneys and you're healthy enough, then you can donate to anybody. You can donate to a complete stranger, and it is straightforward. Like, I was in and out of hospital within 24 hours, and then I was at home recovering. And I would do it again. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I haven't got another kidney to donate.
I was just going to say, I don't think you'd survive that operation.
Yeah. So if I had 3, then obviously I'd give it a one. But yeah, maybe not to any more exes.
Well, that certainly is the ultimate, isn't it, in generosity?
I know,
donate to your ex and keep them going.
But
You might regret it some days.
Probably, yeah.
Well, it depends how many there is.
True.
Of course.
I did it mainly, obviously I did it for him, but I did it mainly for my kids so that they had a dad, because I lost my dad when I was Callum's age, which is my eldest, and I didn't want them to go through what I went through because I knew how bad it was. So that is my main reason for doing it.
Well, that is incredible, Marilyse. It really is. One of the things that we're asking all our guests as well on Yorkshire Talks is to bring something in to talk about, which is Yorkshire based, something that means something to you. Did you bring anything in today?
I've got a picture of my mum and dad, but I've also got my a wedding ring that my mum gave me that was from my dad. And she gave it to me literally a few weeks before she even found out she had cancer. So she was absolutely fine. And I'd been to visit her and she came downstairs and she said, I've got you something. I want to give it to you. And it was her wedding ring from my dad. And I didn't
have a look at it. Just hold your hand out.
And obviously it's been in a jewellery box for so long. It's only a silver, like, plain band. But it'd been a jewellery box for obviously years and years and years. I actually forgot what it looked like. And she gave it to me. So I've literally kept it on my finger ever since.
Yeah.
So this picture means a lot to me, because I'll never forget, like, my mum saying to me, this is when me and your dad were in Mallorca. It wasn't when they first met, but they'd been together for a while. And I used to say to her, when I'm older, please can I have that picture, because it's my favourite.
Let's have a look.
So there we go.
Oh, wow. That's a lovely picture.
That is gorgeous.
You're a mix of your mum and dad, actually, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, that's lovely. That's something special.
That's my picture.
Oh, but 2 very nice and very sentimental items, which kind of sum up your whole life, really, isn't it? Because not only does it sum up your past, your history, your heritage with the Batley Variety Club, your Yorkshire heritage, but also finding love.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be on the horizon.
Oh, I don't know
again.
about that. I'm not very good at dating these days.
Yeah. I want to know if both of you are going to be watching the next series of Married at First Sight.
I'm gonna say no for now.
We say that we talk about this every year though, and we
Yeah.
go, we're not going to watch it. We're not going to get invested in it. But then we end up watching it.
Yeah.
I'm always intrigued because I always want to know if there's going to be any LGBTQ plus couples on.
Yeah.
Sure
And,
there will.
and I want to know how they represent the community. That's why.
We'll
That's
end up
my
we'll end
reason.
up watching the first episodes where it's the weddings, and then we'll be like, right, let's just keep watching. We'll just
You'll
I
get
know,
hooked.
we always do.
That's exactly it. You get hooked, don't you?
You do get hooked. You do get
Oh,
hooked.
well, it's been an absolute pleasure for me to meet you, Marilyse.
you
I've heard
too.
lots about you
Thank
from
you.
Matt. I know that you two are great friends, and it's lovely to see that friendship and how you both supported each
Yeah.
other through this process and
love him.
and this stayed strong into the future. So friends for life, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks very much for joining
Thank
us
you.
on
Nice to
Yorkshire
meet you
Talk.
too.
I know. Thank you so much, Marilyse.
You're
And we'll have a little drink later on, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Thank you so much for joining us this week. And thank you again to our guest, Marilyse Corrigan. And we shall see you next week.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.